Hey y'all, happy Thursday. My name is Tiffany, your local North Carolina Realtor right here in Fayetteville. I am so excited. Yes, Dad, all at the same time. It is the end of March. Where has the month gone? Can you believe it? And with that, March is the end of our credit education month. Each and every Thursday, right here on my live at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, I have brought one of my friends, my homies, Mr. Kevin, Senior Mortgage Loan Officer, to tell us a credit tip of the week to help us prepare for ownership. And this week is going to be no different. We want to make sure that you can get the keys this month. And so Kev is right here to join us to give us our latest and last credit tip for the month. Kevin, can you believe March is almost over?
I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's crazy. This month flew by, but they say time flies when you're having fun. So, what are we going to do?
That's it. Time flies when you're having fun. And I know I can speak for myself and so many of the people that have reached out. We have really, really appreciated all of the jewels, the keys that you have given us this month so we can get these keys. We are claiming home ownership all 2023, and you have definitely helped us to be able to do that. So thank you so much.
No problem. It's my absolute pleasure partnering up with you to give out these gems, right? It's been an amazing ride, and we're going to keep it going. Like, I know March credit awareness is a thing, but we're going to keep this thing going because our whole goal is to continue to educate our viewers, our friends, our network on home ownership and what they can do to prepare, whether it's in the next 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, a year. You could be ready to purchase. We just got to get some things in order, and that's what we're trying to do by giving these credit tips.
Absolutely. I tell people regularly, luck is where opportunity and preparation meet. And so we are going to do all the things that we can to be prepared. We know this market is crazy. We can't control the market. But one thing we learned, I think in week 2, is we can control our finances. 80% of the things on our credit report are in our control. So tell us, what are we going to talk about this week?
So today we're going to talk about the difference between FICO and Vantage scoring, because I know, as a lender, many times I get people, and I'm sure you get it too, right, from your clients. They come and they say, I got my score. I've been checking my score and been monitoring my score, but then when my lender pulled it, it was a little bit different. It was lower, right? Sometimes it's higher, but most of the times when the lender pulls it, it's lower. And now there's confusion being said. And they're like, why? I've been looking at my score for the last 6 months. It said that I'm at a 690. Kevin pulled it. He says I'm at a 650. What happened to my 40 points?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of go into that and really just show the difference and why there is a difference and which one you should be paying attention to. Because, if you're looking to purchase a home specifically, we're using FICO, not Vantage.
Okay, so we're using the FICO score, not the Vantage score. So what even is the Vantage score to begin with? Why does that even exist?
Okay, so let's start with FICO.
Okay.
So FICO is like the beginning, right? That it started with the Fair Isaac Corporation. That's what FICO is for. And they created this scoring model to be able to determine what your score is going to be. And so that started years ago. I don't remember the exact year. I want to say in the 80s, but maybe further back than that. I'm not 100% sure. But I do know very recently the 3 credit bureaus. So you have Equifax, you have Experian, and you have TransUnion. The 3 of them got together and they said, we're going to create our own scoring model. And that's what Vantage scoring is. So the 3 bureaus decided that they were going to compete with FICO and they were going to create their own scoring model to try to capture the clients.
Wow.
The issue is FICO's been doing it so long that the lenders, they're like, nah, I'm good. I'll stick with FICO, And so now you have this, I don't want to call it a war, but you have this thing where You have Vantage scoring, which is the three bureaus who got together, created their own system called Vantage. And then you have FICO. So 90% of lenders, they use FICO.
Wow. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense because you told us about the 3 different credit bureaus and how we can make sure when we're looking at our credit score and our profile to pay attention to that. Where do we get our FICO score?
So you can get your FICO score from, there's a free service, I believe it's annualcreditreport.com.
Okay.
You can go there and you can get your credit report and it will give you the FICO. Or you can go to freecreditreport.com. I believe that's only going to give you one bureau. If you go to credit report, you're allowed to pull your credit report one time annually for free. Or you can just go to a lender and ask them to pull your credit, and then they can let you know what your FICO is. And I don't want to go too deep, but there are multiple different types of FICO. There's FICO 8, FICO 9, FICO 10, right? And I'm a lender. I'm not a credit, repair guy. So to get more in depth, you definitely want to talk to the specialist. But just letting that be known, because I'm sure some people say, well, there's a FICO 8 and there's a FICO 9. You're absolutely correct. But the lenders, we're going to use FICO over Vantage. And so you get that from either going annualcreditreport.com, you can pull your FICO there, freecreditreport.com, or you can contact your lender.
Okay. Now, we talked about inquiries before. When we go to one of these sites, either freecreditreport.com or annualreport.com, does that count as an inquiry on our credit to pull it?
No, you should be good to go when you pull it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good to know. Okay. So what makes why is our FICO score even important?
It's important because remember from the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about, it tells us your credit worthiness, right? So when an applicant comes to us and they say, hey, Tiffany, I'm ready to purchase a house. And then your question is, well, have you been pre-approved? And they say, no. And you say, well, you got to call Kevin because he's going to let you know your numbers, because we want to make sure that we're going to look and find a house that's within your budget, within your purchase price range, within your payment range, right? And so I'm looking at your credit and I'm looking at your income. Your income tells me your ability to pay. So if I know you're making $100,000 a year, that gives me a sense of your ability. Your credit tells me your willingness, right? Are you willing to pay things on time? So that's why the FICO score is very important. And it's important because the Vantage score is not going to give us an accurate depiction oftentimes of what your scores are. So if you're solely going off of third-party sites, like maybe Credit Karma or there's another site I can't remember, but I know Credit Karma is a very popular site that gives scores. You want to make sure you pull FICO from your lender, because that's the score that we're going to actually use to qualify you with. And I pulled this up because remember, we talked about FICO. The 3 main components that make up your scores are history, utilization, payment, credit utilization, and then overall credit history. So we know overall credit history is 15%, right? Your utilization is 30%,
right?
And your payment history is 35%.
That good old payment history.
80% is within your control. But I'm looking here, Vantage, they score differently.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I learned this today. So Vantage scores this way. Your payment history is 40%.
Oh, wow.
The length of credit and credit types is 21%.
Okay.
So they like a mixture between revolving and installment type debt. Your credit utilization is 20%.
Okay.
And credit balances is 11%. So they actually do a difference between utilization and balances.
Right.
And then they have other like new credit loan applications, 5%, and the available credit amounts 3%. So that's why when I was looking at this, I said, oh, credit utilization is only 20%, whereas with FICO, it's 30%. So you can have a higher credit utilization on Vantage and have a higher score. And then when I pull it, I'm using FICO and I'll see a lower score. That's because, let's say for the numbers, for the people watching, numbers sake, we say go by 30%. So if you have a $1,000 limit, what's the rule?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. $1,000 credit limit, we're going to divide that by 3. That's going to give you basically $333. Right? That's 30%. So when I pull it, I'm looking for that utilization to be below 30%. And that makes up 30% of your score. Whereas with Vantage, it's only making up 20% of the score. So you can get a higher utilization, but because it's not being weighed as heavily, you're not going to be penalized on the Vantage side.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So then that's why when our lender pulls our credit score, it's different. It's typically lower than what we have been seeing if we've only been looking at one of those other ones, because they're not weighing our credit utilization as heavy as a lender would, given that we're about to borrow a lot of money potentially to purchase this house. And so making sure that we are not having high balances already outstanding with our other credit is going to be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important to know the difference, because I get it all the time. You know, I'll ask, what's your credit score? And then they say, well, you know, I use Credit Karma, and Credit Karma is telling me that my score is X, right? 680, 690. And then I pull it, and like I said, oftentimes it's lower. And I have to explain to them why. So now you will know, if you're looking at your Credit Karma, it's a good indicator to let you know where you're at. So I would use it as a gauge. If your Vantage score is around 680, 690, I would account for a 10 to 15 point difference in your FICO. Right? It could be that far off. And sometimes it's the same, right? Sometimes if there isn't a lot of credit history, or there isn't a lot of debt that you have, the scores may be very similar. But I would account for a 10 to 15 point swing differential if you're looking at your Vantage and now you're going to apply for a home loan, and, you know, be prepared for what your lender's going to pull and what they see when they pull your FICO.
Got it. Now, since you mentioned Credit Karma, there's definitely one thing I want to ask you, because we've seen Credit Karma and some of these other third-party credit sites, they'll offer things like a credit booster if you sign up for it. Does that actually help us in any way?
It does help. It all depends on where you're at, what stage you're at in your credit building, right? So if you're a newbie, you're trying to establish credit, you want to try to get all the boosters you can get. So, you know, I think Experian Boost will allow you to include things that typically don't go on your credit report, right? Like your utilities, in some cases your rent. Those items are not reported on your credit report. And if you're new and you don't have any established credit, but you've been paying your rent, utilities on time for the last 12 months, well, that can help boost your score. Maybe even some cell phone bills. So you have to look and see what they will allow. And then, yes, it will boost. Now, if you're rebuilding your credit, so you have credit, maybe it's not where you want it, and you're trying to rebuild it and reestablish it, then the boost does not give as much weight. Because in those cases, you're trying to repair something that's been damaged. So I'm not going to say that it has no value, but it's not going to weigh as heavily as if you're, you know, brand new, you're trying to establish, and now you're going to get that good payment history that you've been making with your utility company, your electric, water, your rent, your cell phone, things of that nature. So I'm, you know, I take the approach of whatever boost I can get, I want. Right? If you can put me 5 points, give me my 5.
Right. Give me all the points. Okay, so that's helpful to know, because there definitely were things like going around about, is this a scam? Does this actually do anything? And so really it sounds like it's all just about identifying what are our goals and what are we trying to accomplish? Because for some people, this may not be the time to do it. I don't know if there are prices attached to it or if a time limit or anything like that. And so we just need to know when we are thinking about buying a home, for example, for this conversation specifically, what is our timeline, and knowing that this is our goal, so these are the steps that we can take, versus if we're someone that's in the repair phase and we know we got another 6 to 12 or longer time frame ahead of us and we're just trying to get some things back on track. So that makes a lot of sense.
Right. And I want to make sure that our viewers know, whenever we add, anytime you add something to the credit report, that debt is used, right, in your debt to income qualification, your ratios. But do a boost, right? So you put your utilities on, that debt is not included in the DTI. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
So if I look at the credit report and I see, you have 5 items on there that you use to boost your credit up a few extra points, but now you're concerned that maybe your DTI or your debt to income is not going to meet the program requirements, fear not. We're not going to use those payments as part of your DTI calculation. It's just going to serve its purpose as far as helping your scores, but we're going to exclude those items from the DTI.
Okay. So that's good to know. So we put those things such as rent, utility bills. We know even though those are reoccurring things that we're making payments for monthly, it's not going to be part of our divide by 3 rule. We think about our overall credit, because it's not actually credit that we are using for that, but it is monthly payments that we're showing that consistent payment history.
Correct. Right. So you're right. It's not really being included in those overall factors per se. It's just nudging along. It's doing exactly what it's called. It's boosting the score, showing some other compensating factors that's showing good history. It's going to let's give them a little boost to help them out while they're still working out the payment history, the credit history, the utilization that really accounts for the scores that we're seeing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, because that's so important for across the board, regardless of what it is our goal is. We need to be able to show that we have a willingness to pay our bills and to pay our bills on time.
Correct.
And so that is super helpful. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, got it. So one more time, tell me again, you said it's credit and annualcreditreport.com. Is that right?
Annualcreditreport.com and freecreditreport.com.
Annualcreditreport.com, freecreditreport.com. In order to pull, and is there a limit or how often we should pull these reports?
You're only allowed to pull it once for free.
Okay.
Annually.
Okay.
So within a 12-month cycle, you can go and pull those reports for free. After that, then you will be charged for it. But if you want to know what your scores are, you can always contact, a local lender, and they should be able to pull your scores as well.
Okay. And one thing that I learned, and I would love to get your opinion on, is especially because there's 2 of them, you can do like free credit report maybe in the spring and then annual credit report in the fall, especially if you've been doing some things trying to track to see how your progress is going with your credit score. So that way you can technically get 2 free reports a year. Is that right?
Yeah, you could do that because they're 2 different sites. But remember, with the free credit report, you're only getting, I believe it's Experian.
Okay.
Only getting one bureau with freecreditreport.com, whereas annual works with all 3 credit bureaus.
Got it. And then if all else fails, they can call you and then you can just pull it for us and tell us what we need to do and where we are.
Right. I'll pull it. I'll be able to look at it and say, okay, I see the work you've been doing. Congratulations, your score is now increased X amount of points. And then there's also something I want to let people know. There's something called rapid rescoring. So what that is, let's say you're in a situation, your lease is up in June, right? We're about to hit April. Your lease is up in June. You don't want to renew your lease. You want to purchase, but your score is not really where it wants to be yet. You're a few points shy, maybe 10, 15 points shy of where you want to be, but you know that you can do the bringing the balance down. You can pay some things off. Well, we can do what's called a rapid rescore. And simply put, we can go into process. We don't have to wait. We can go into process. And then when you make those payments, so let's say it says pay Capital One down to the 30%, pay Best Buy down, right, to whatever number. Once you pay that, and then you show me the proof that you made those payments by either a letter from the creditor or an updated statement showing balance, I can submit those to the credit company, and they will do what's called a rapid rescore, meaning we will not have to wait the 30 to 45 days it takes for that account to cycle.
Okay.
And we can get your updated score within 7 to 10 business days.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Right? So I do that a lot with clients who, like I said, they don't want to wait. They want to get their process going now, but they might be a few points away from ability, or sometimes somebody just needs to get to that next credit tier, right? They might be at a 675, but they know once they get to 680, pricing is a little bit better, because we know the higher the credit score, the lower the interest rate, or sometimes the lower the cost of the rate.
Right.
So if I get them to the next credit tier, then I might be able to give them better pricing, or the rate might not cost as much. And so we could do rapid rescoring while in process.
Okay. Okay. So that's super helpful. So especially if they know that, like, we're right here at the cusp, but we're trying to get this pre-approval so we can go ahead and get started. If they go ahead and pay that off, they can show you either the balance or even like maybe a receipt of payment, so you can see the new balance, and that way you can do that rapid scoring.
Correct. We need to see updated statements or a screenshot showing that what your new updated balance is. Or some creditors will actually send you a letter stating, hey, with the date, the time, they'll timestamp it and say your updated balance is now 0 or X, whatever it is. And then we can that information, submit it, and then in 7 to 10 business days, we'll have your updated scores, which will last for the remainder of the process.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned the credit tiers that folks could have depending on what their credit score range is. Can you share with us what those are?
Sure. So your credit, as it pertains to mortgage lending, right? Your credit is in tiers of 19 points. So from 600 to 619 is one tier.
Okay.
620 to 639 is another tier. 640, 659, like that. So in ranges of 19 points, once you get to that 20th point, you're now in the higher tier.
Okay.
That's important because some programs you're not even eligible for unless you have a 620, a 640, a 680, a 720. So if you're trying to get into a program that requires a 680, but you're at a 675, well, you just need 5 points. And then you can now be in that higher tier, qualify for the program that you want to qualify for, and maybe even qualify for better pricing.
Nice.
No, because your score may go up 15 points, but if you stay within the same tier, you're saying, well, how come nothing changed? Why didn't my rate come down? Well, if you were at a 6 bracket. So unfortunately, even though there was some increase in your score, take you to the next tier. So that's important to know. So you want to, if you're at 610 and you go up 9 points, within the same tier, the pricing, everything's going to be the same.
Okay. So now that means you definitely got to come back, because now we need to talk about in the future some of these programs and products so folks can know what their goal and what their aim is. Y'all know I've already shared I am on a journey to get me my first investment property this year. And so I'm trying to house hack. Kevin's going to help me out with that house hacking. So we're going to have to bring him back so then we can learn about some of these programs that we need to make sure that our credit score is up to par for.
Absolutely. And the credit, this was really good. I want to applaud you, Tiffany, because you brought this idea to me, right? And you said, listen, March is credit awareness, credit literacy month. Let's give the people some education. So I want to applaud you first for wanting to put this platform together to educate. But it's so important because many times those non-traditional programs that can really benefit buyers and that's trying to get into the market, they require higher credit scores.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of opportunity out there, right? Especially for our self-employed borrowers, or our borrowers that are 1099 individuals. And sometimes their tax returns, like we know tax season, we're in tax season now,
right,
for filing their taxes. And if you're self-employed, you're taking advantage of all your tax deductions so that you don't have to pay Uncle Sam, right? So you everything that's within your right to do,
for sure,
as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is when you're trying to buy a house,
Yes.
I can only use taxable income. So you made 100,000, but you only show 50. Well, now I can only qualify you on 50,000. Well,
Right.
guess what? If your credit is strong, I don't need tax returns. Wait, what?
Talk to him now. Talk to him.
You don't even need tax returns if your credit is strong. We can use alternate forms of documentation to determine what your income is. Yeah. We can use bank statements. We can use P&Ls. We can use 1099s. But you have to have strong credit if we're going to go the non-traditional route. Yeah. So there's so many different options, and we can definitely jump on here and highlight some of those programs. But I just want to let people know credit is very important. Very, very important. And it can open up so many different doors and opportunities. There are more people investing right now in real estate than in a long time. Absolutely. Right? Do not believe the hype.
Absolutely.
Watch the news and they're talking all this doom and gloom. Let me tell you something. People are out here purchasing property. They are investing. They are buying up these properties, and they're going to sell them and flip them or rent them out, and their cash flow is going to go up while somebody else is sitting on the sideline saying, I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yes.
It's out there. And you got two people right here, Tiffany and Kev. We are your team, right? We are your Avengers. We are the ones that's going to go to bat for you and give you everything you need. You got to do your part.
Yeah.
80% is up to you.
we can bring in that other 20. We can take it home. But that's so important because especially now entrepreneurship is on the rise. There are so many people that have stepped out into that entrepreneurship world. And though there has been questions, and one of them has been, well, now I don't have the W-2s or the tax forms. And so I know we hear a lot about cash is king and all of that stuff. And that can be very well be true, but all of us don't have that abundance of cash just sitting there, because we shouldn't, honestly, because with inflation, we're losing money if it's just sitting there. Mm-hmm. And so by utilizing our credit and utilizing these programs and professionals like yourself who have the knowledge, there's more than one way to accomplish a goal. And so I am so grateful that we're able to share the knowledge with folks to let them know that it's not, they are not stuck. We have choices, we have options, and yes, there are steps that we have to take to put us in the best position. But however, they're totally doable. There's people on your side that can help you to walk you along this journey with you. And we can get some keys, because you are absolutely right. Like, I was working on a deal today, and folks are out here. They are buying property. The news, I tell people, the news is based off of ratings. So their whole goal is to get people riled up and get you glued to the TV, but it may not always be through the lens that is really objective. And so, yes, the real estate market is hot. I've been dropping deals all week, investment properties for less than $100K, less than $100,000 that folks can get into. And so if you are in the market, if you want to just learn how do we do this, we are here to help you. So Kevin, any last thoughts for today before we tell the people bye to March, because this month is over?
Right. So I'm going to say, listen, watch all of these lives that we did over the past 4 weeks. Watch them, share them, yes. Right? Don't keep all the knowledge to yourself. Share the information and then apply it, right? We gave you tools that you can actually apply and use right now to put yourself in a better position. The easiest is the divide by 3 rule. Many of us, our scores are low, not because we've been late, but because our credit utilization is just way too high. So make that your first priority. Start bringing those account balances down. If you have been late or you are currently late, call your creditor. set up a payment arrangement with them, get out of default, right? There are different things that we can do. Become an authorized user. Find somebody that you trust, that you know have good credit, and ask them, can I be an authorized user on the account? I don't need the card. I just want the benefit because I'm looking to purchase a property, right? And then know your numbers, right? I'm not saying don't use Credit Karma. I'm not saying that, but know the numbers that the lender's going to use. So get your annual credit report, get the numbers, talk to your lender, find out where you are, right? I say sometimes it's like going to the doctor. Sometimes we're scared to go to the doctor because we're afraid they're going to tell us something's wrong. Well, how will you know if anything's wrong if you don't find, if you don't go to the doctor?
Exactly.
Right? So, we talked about it before. Get your credit checkup. Get the credit checkup. Many times it's not as bad as you think.
For sure.
Right? And if it is, let's say your credit is just tore up, that's okay. Because now we're having a mindset shift. We're changing our ways. We're doing a 180. We're going to turn and we're going to say, okay, I'm going to focus now because tomorrow is coming no matter what.
That's it.
Whether fix your credit or not, Friday's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have Friday come with us on track to be better, get a higher credit score, be on the path towards home ownership? So I say go back, watch these videos. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're here to help. And I'm looking forward to helping so many people purchase their first, second, fifth home in 2023.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that because as you know, we go to the next level head first. And so mindset is so important and it's so key. And people sometimes ask like, what does that mean? How do I get the mindset? It's doing stuff like this. All the recordings are right here on my page. They're going to be saved. And so I will definitely reshare all of them for the month. And so you can go back through. Most of them are no more than 30 minutes. And so you can go back quickly and watch. And Q2 of the year is starting. April 1st is literally right around the corner. This can be your goal. Pull your credit report. I know for me, one of the things that I do with some of these more important things, like my yearly checkup, and now I'm just going to add my credit report. I go around my birthday. So my birthday's in September. And so every year in September, I always do an annual physical. And now I'm going to pull my yearly credit report as well to see what that is. And so that's something that people can do that's easy where, another year, let me see how I progress. And it's really cool to be able to see I have old credit report from different years to see how much I've grown, to see how I've progressed. And so, and y'all, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I have worked with people and their credit score has been low, low, low. And certain things have helped to boost it right on up. So we are here to help you. We want to help you. It is not as hard as you may think, especially if you have people with the knowledge that can walk you along the way. So thank you so much for joining us, Kev. Again, thank you. I really, really appreciate you. And I can't wait for us to run it back and do it again.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. See ya.